Hi, my name is Laurelee, and this is It's Not About Food. So it's not about food, and it's not about weight. What is it about? Everything else, because it's never ever about food or weight, never ever, not even one time, not ever, ever, ever. So, hello, my name is Laurelee Roark. I'm one of the founders of Beyond Hunger, as well as one of the co-creators of the Body Love cards. And my business partner and I, Carol Normandy, also wrote 2 books on eating disorders and body hatred called It's Not About Food, which is also the name of the podcast that we're going to do today. And the other book is called Over It, and it's for teenage girls. What we're talking today about on the Body Love cards is compassion, which I feel like I just said, it's just not often in this world that we get to talk about compassion and what does that really mean to us and how can we get some and how can we give it to others and what is it? So on the front of the card is the goddess is got her hand on her heart standing up, and she's got also her other hand on top of her deer or her power animal on the top of that little creature's head. And it does look like a very compassionate card, and around her is a beautiful shade of red going into pink and a beautiful sky behind her. And to me, compassion was sort of like a learned behavior. I didn't feel like I had much compassion when I was younger. I certainly didn't feel like it was coming towards me either. So I really did at some point have to not only have compassion for others, but especially for me as I was recovering from my own eating disorder. I had nothing but hatred and severe sort of, I had bad thoughts about myself having an eating disorder or drug addiction or alcoholism or any of the millions of things that I needed to recover from at some point. I didn't have no compassion for me. I only had, I call it my Sister Mary Margaret look, that kind of disdain and, oh, you're such a bad girl kind of a look to myself. So when Carol and I started Beyond Hunger, which was in 1988, we had both recovered by learning how to have compassion for ourselves and for the idea that we even have to bear the recovery or the disorder that an eating disorder is. So I'm going to read what the card says. Compassion is the necessary foundation for all healing. When we can have compassion for the parts of ourselves that we dislike the most, we can let go of the debilitating shame and self-hatred we have carried for so long, and use our compassion to bring love, understanding, and then, if necessary, change. So I love how this kind of says that it's very hard to change if you're doing it because you're whipping yourself for being so horrible. But it is easier, but way lasting when you can do it with love and respect, honor, and compassion. If there's one person who I think has this down, especially with his own self and others, is my guest today, Frank. And I'm so grateful he's here today to talk about compassion with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Who are you and what are you doing?
Well, I'm a musician these days. I'm an ex-teacher. I'm 66. I live in the San Anselmo area. Freeway Frank, that's what they call me. Play guitar. And compassion, I mean, talking now in the month of December, which is the Christmas month. Oh my gosh, if there's ever anything that I need more at any particular time of the year, it's compassion now.
Right now.
With the way folks are running around. So,
right. Oh, for sure.
One of the things about compassion that I think is really difficult to model something if you don't have it yourself, right? And so, and you might, and I'm sure there was times when I wasn't even aware that I didn't have it. So
that's right.
So you go through this whole thing, and then stuff is happening to you and you start asking, like, why is it me? Why are they picking on me? Or why is it always coming to me? Or why do I always? So there's a judgment involved, right? And then the other thing that's kind of antithesis to compassion is anger. So those are two big issues with me: having anger, having judgment. And then I found that it was almost impossible to come up with compassion with the hooks of anger
Yep.
in me, or with the glue of judgment or something like that. And so, you know how it goes. You cannot do anything for anyone else that you can't do for yourself. That's number one. Number two, it's often the hardest to do things for yourself.
Yep.
So it's like it's a double whammy when it comes to that.
Yep.
But oftentimes in my life, when I found that I got to a place where I couldn't go any further, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're really down and you're really like, oh man, what is going on with this? And then at that point, then you start, when there's nowhere else to turn, then you start relaxing. And then one of the things that occurs to me at that point is, well, hey, maybe, I can't change any of this stuff around here, but I wonder, is there anything I could do to feel different? And if at that point, if you are able to consider having some compassion,
Yep.
the sense of relief that comes from that, it's like you get rewarded immediately, and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that was so easy. Once I figured out, all I had to do was not give a about some bullshit thing over here, whatever that was, right?
Right.
And so you get a small measure of it for yourself, and then at some other point, you're able to apply it to some other person. And I mean, just the end result of it, once you go through the work, is that when you're able to do that, then you immediately start feeling better. It's
Yes.
like, oh, what, that was, thank God I figured that out. And
Yeah.
that makes that easier, you know. And then you're like, okay, well, let's see. I want to consider remembering this, so the next time I back myself into a corner,
Mm-hmm.
or the next time I let someone else back me into a corner, whatever, I can start to come back to this place and work forward again. So
That's right.
right.
That's right.
But here's an example just the other day of how well it worked for me. I'm sitting, and I got lucky right now. I'm retired. I'm playing guitar. I'm doing all the things in my life that I want to do. So, wow, how great is that? Lucky. So there's that. So I actually have time to consider cultivating things that before I might not even had taken the time or felt like I had the time.
Yes.
But I'm sitting there on a stop sign. There's people just come left and right everywhere. And I go, I'm just going to hang here for a second because I really don't know who's going to do what. And I don't want to hurt anyone. So as I'm sitting there, real gently from behind, I feel another car hit my bumper. Now I know that it's no damage to my bumper. I can feel that. The moment someone would they slap you in the face, well,
right?
Not exactly the same kind of behavior, but you have a millisecond before you can react to it. So same thing here. Someone hit your bumper. So just like, it's okay. It's no damage. I don't want to get out. If I get out,
right.
I may hook into some anger, which has got nothing to do about this particular thing.
Right.
I don't know what the other person is going through.
Right.
On and on and on. I go, you know what? I bet you if I drive away, that other person is really going to be relieved.
They're going to be so happy.
So I just waved and I kept driving. And then I was about a quarter of the way down the block and I go, and guess who else is relieved?
You.
Yay.
You didn't have to get into
Oh
the
my God,
whole
it was like
thing.
my Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and I felt really good about it for them, but I also really felt good about it for me. And it was just like what the doctor ordered at that moment.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. And I got it. I was like, oh, okay. Wow. That was smart.
And it seems to me like you had compassion for that other person that made a mistake.
Well, see, that's
Kinda.
the other thing
Yeah.
so imagine that it's really easy for me. This is one of my strong points. It's easy for me to imagine making a mistake because I've made so many of them.
Of course, as we all do.
Yeah, but I'm not the kind of person that likes to It's embarrassed by that. I'll be embarrassed by other things, but not about that.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, oops, that was wrong, or whatever, which I'll freely admit to myself and to others. And by the way, there's something so of a release in that.
Yes.
It's like, look, I just,
I messed up.
I messed up.
So,
but
wow.
there's also right on the other side, there's learning, which is exciting. So it's like messed up, fess up for it, learn, move forward.
Right.
And then it's just on and on and on. Right. So that's all good. Right. So I can always imagine being that person like made a lot of mistakes. So when I see someone else that makes mistakes, I go, rather than judging it, which I may have done at one point, I'll go like, yeah, I get it. I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I've done that,
Yeah.
But maybe 30 years ago, I would go, I don't like that. Well, of course I didn't like that. And I don't like myself when I did it.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged. So I don't want to die by that double-edged sword. So therefore, let's take the edge off of both sides. Yeah, that was a mistake. Hey, I can relate to mistakes. It's okay. It'll be better. And guess what? I'm going to be better too.
Yeah.
So
yes, exactly.
And then
win-win.
Right,
Everybody wins.
Right.
Right. And I love what you were saying before about having, maybe you didn't have so much compassion for yourself before. And I find that for me, I had to back it up to where I could say, okay, that's true for me. So if I didn't have compassion for myself, I could have compassion that I didn't have any compassion that I didn't have any compassion.
Right. It folds in on itself. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I know. I get right. I can forgive myself for not forgiving myself for
right.
On and on
for
and on.
Getting down on myself, and I'm sorry that I did that. Sorry. Excuse me. Bye.
Sorry, but I'm going to turn around twice in this cul-de-sac.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, exactly. Sure.
So, I have people who say, "Oh, I'm not very good at compassion." It's like, yeah, well, what a shame you have to bear that.
But here's the deal. Well, they say that, but then you realize it is like anything else, a skill that can be developed.
It is. It is.
And the benefit with that is that you get to experience the positivity from that. So often people say, "Oh, that's nice that you take it that way, or that you think this way." Whatever. It could be compassion. It could be anything.
Exactly.
And I'll go, "Well, thank you. You're welcome. That is nice." And then I'll always follow it up with, this is the teaching moment, more for myself than for them, but I share it. I go, and guess who benefits the most from that?
Yeah.
And they look at me and then they start to smile. I go, that's right. I mean, so yeah, you're thinking, hey, I'm such a great guy for being compassionate. Thank you very much. But again, let's look at it.
It's a little teeny bit selfish, which is
there's just some altruism.
Yeah.
There's some altruism in there, but there is a lot of
I get something
protecting.
back.
Yeah,
right.
I get something back. Like I get to not worry. I get to not be upset. I get to not. I'm not going to pull the hooks out because that hurts, but I'm going to gently, if I can, kind of unhook and let you float away with that, or let me float away with that.
Exactly.
Whatever it is. And then afterwards, the thing I always say, and I always think of compassion in terms of taking the high road. And that is,
right.
The high road's not all easy, but every time you take it, that was the right thing to do. Oh man, that feels so glad that I did that. On and on and on. And then on the other side, if there's times when I wasn't able to do it later on, as I'm still being compassionate to myself, I'll go, and next time, dude, try this other thing. I mean, that could have gone better. Yeah, what you said was right. There was nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Even the emotion, whatever. But in the end, I would have preferred this, because at the end, I want to feel as good as I can in every situation. And there it is.
Well, and I love what you're bringing it back to you, that I want to feel better. Of course, the other person will feel better if I don't rip their face off.
Right.
Of course. But there's a part of me that will feel better too, that I didn't know about before. I used to think I would feel better when I stood up for myself and, came out swinging. But that was just my family teaching that wasn't very good.
Which you need when your life is on the line. But if your life is not on the line and you still get upset and you come out swinging,
and
then you wait 10 seconds and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, whoops.
I can't have that back. And it's like, oh,
This is going to be a big, I'm sorry for a long time.
right. And of course that I'm sorry does not address the grievous event. It just shows other people that you recognize the social ramifications of it. But if there was something you did that made people feel bad, you can't really make them feel better by saying I'm sorry, but it allows the road to be open for reconciliation in the future. But a lot of people confuse that. I feel like, well, I'm sorry. First of all, you're not really sorry.
Or you would stop doing it.
Like when you say it like that. And you're not really sorry. And well, I'm glad that you're sorry. But as the Irish will say, we can all agree to bury the hatchet, but we all still know where it's buried. So
in your back.
Yeah. So let's, Oh. No. Right. Don't want to go there, right?
No.
So again,
No. But I love, again, what you're saying about there's a thing in this culture that you're not really supposed to take care of yourself first, right? You're not supposed to have compassion for yourself first, so then you can give it to others because that's selfish. We're also just supposed to be there for others. But if we're not also part of the human race or part of the experience, how can we give it if we don't have it?
Well, so first of all, I want to know who told us that.
Who told us that?
Right.
Right. Don't be selfish.
Right. But then, I mean, consider that you're supposed to think of others first. Okay. Well, let's pretend that we're flying in an airplane. What do the airline stewardesses tell you?
That's right.
That you're supposed to put the mask on yourself first and then help others. And why do they tell you that? Because you could die.
So you won't die.
And then you're right. And then you can't help someone else.
Right.
So at some point,
you can help no one, not even you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being number one. Everyone gets to be number one sometimes. And if you notice that no one else is calling you for number one, what would be wrong with you saying, okay, I'm going to be number one here for this?
And it's not a black or white or either or. It's like, I'm number one and then all of the rest of you are zero. No. You're number one too. Everybody's a number one to themselves. So let's all agree on that.
So there's that, take care of others first. Well, isn't it the Buddhists that say, or one strain of it, that they say, live half your life for others and half your life for yourself? Well, all right. I reflect.
And that makes one life.
Yeah, and I've reflected very deeply on my life. I can tell you, I can promise you that half for others, I have really filled their half.
Yes.
I mean, I have. And I'm glad and honored and touched by all that. However, then when it's something where I gotta decide it's something for me, I don't feel the least bit embarrassment or funny stuff about being ashamed about asking for what I want. I remember being told that the answer to the question you don't ask is automatically no. So you have to ask it and on and on and on. So, which is why people, when they ask if you want something, apparently, I think this is a Middle Eastern thing, you have to refuse 3 times. Because if you refuse the first time, they just figure you're a little bit embarrassed. And the second time, they figure you're trying to be a little bit consistent with the first time. But if you refuse it the third time, then you really don't want it. However, if you did kind of want it, the first 2 times, you got the social thing out of the way. And then this is how long it takes to get that compassion. I really would like to have a cup of Turkish coffee now that you mention it. Or so whatever it is, So it's like, yeah.
I really do want some sugar mint tea.
I really do want that. I really am worth all that,
Yeah.
So it's hard to come up with it, but that's the one. On the one hand, when you do come up with it, it feels great for you, and when you're able to give it to someone else, it feels great for the both of you, and it turns when I'm in good form. It's like I cannot be stopped from giving it. It's like you can't talk me out of it.
Yes.
And then I'm just always hoping that you are never successful at talking me out of it. But still, I feel a freedom inside of me, and also especially feel a freedom from me, because all the judgment about like how much I ate or when I ate or this or that, and that's a cyclical thing, and
Yeah.
so and yet I realize that, and I know that, and remember it. So it's just like, oh, spiraled a little bit further away from the camp. Did you? Right. Well,
Where's the breadcrumbs? Let
we're,
me
we're,
go.
we're not we're gonna buy ice cream next month, but not this month or something.
Right, whatever it is.
Whatever it
Right.
is, right? So
Right.
because all those things that lead to guilt and shame, then I feel like I'm back in Sunday school, and I'm sorry, I gave that up.
Yeah.
I gave up that religion.
Right.
So yeah.
So you mentioned ice cream or eating or whatever. So how did you use the idea of compassion for your recovery?
Well, it's also, I think, kind of mixed up with self-love, which is people always talk about love, and so I think after all these years, I finally figured out the most important love you have is the love you have for yourself. And again, if you're not loving yourself and then you say to someone else, I love you, well, it just has less meaning,
What is
because
that?
you don't,
Right.
if I don't know what it is towards me, how am I supposed to know what it is towards
I
you?
know.
But so into that, so that feeling self-love towards you, what you're doing, your actions, who you are, what you've done, all that kind of stuff, you're having to let go of judgment against yourself. You're
Yep.
having to let go of shame. You're having to confront all those kind of things.
Yep.
And so as you,
In a compassionate
in a
way.
compassionate way, and as you do, you feel funny, you feel lighter, almost like, how could a person who overeats feel lighter? But you actually mentally, spiritually feel lighter. And then at times like that, then I'm actually, if I realize I'm caring about myself, then I start asking the question, well, since I care so much about myself, what really would be the best thing for me
Why
right
would
now?
I do this to myself?
Right, right. I mean, yeah, I know it tastes good, and I know blah blah blah, and I know that all the trigger behaviors and that kind of stuff. But when I do it, if I do this, am I going to feel better? And if you
Right.
have that conversation, just even for a minute, for a second, before you
Right.
do it, 90% of the time you'll go, oh, I'm not going to feel better. And then if you actually are able to say, do I really have compassion for myself? Do I really care for myself? And then you go, and if you say yes, then it just makes it just a little bit easier to then go,
Yep.
and I'm choosing not to do this.
That's right.
I'm not forcing myself. No one's forcing me. But yes, I could do it. And yes, I want to. But never mind that. Just for a second, I'm just going to like not. And then as soon as you don't do it,
Right.
then almost immediately the hunger, desire
Yeah.
goes away for it, replaced by, hey, I feel kind of good. I took care of myself.
Right.
And
Just go on with your life.
what a treat that is.
What a concept.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what you just described so beautifully is this sort of the intuitive eating that if
Right.
you wait till you're hungry, you're going to know what your body wants. Once you know what your body wants, you're going to know when you're full. And it doesn't mean that you can't have whatever it is in the whole world that you would like. It means exactly that. But if I'm not hungry and I feed myself food instead of love or compassion or taking care of myself,
Right.
it's never going to work.
Nope.
It doesn't. It's
Nope.
not the match. The match is what is happening.
I just spent like a week with some good friends of mine. The woman and her husband, who's passed away. The husband passed away about 10 years ago, but the two of them were my best friends for in my whole life. And then so she's there. She has a new man in her life, and then her daughter's the same age as my daughter, 33, and her daughter is just unbelievable person, beautiful, super smart. Just took herself in the past year and a half through like a year and a half 12-step program for substance abuse, overeating, and she is so open and can say. And so when you sit with her, you spend a minute with her, and it's like, oh my God, I'm sitting at the foot of Buddha. I mean, it's like that bad. It's
so
that,
wonderful.
It's wonderful. So just hanging out with them. And then the woman has a gourmet cook. So I'm up there and I brought my guitar and, there's not much TV. But I realized we spent the better part of 3 days pretty much just talking about this or that,
I
whatever.
love it.
And what I notice is this. So there's no boredom. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I have no boredom.
Aha.
Oh my God. So, there's food all over the place. I could eat food all day long. It's all there.
Yeah.
There's no restriction on it. But she'll serve you, like the girl will make a breakfast and you can nibble on something for lunch, and then there's a dinner and they just serve you a plate. And I just ate what was given to me, which was exactly perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed after that 3 days is, you know what? When I'm not bored, I so don't overeat.
It's so true.
And the boredom isn't just about like, not having people. I mean, actually, when you have people, then I really get clued into talking with them. But I have so many things to do when I'm by myself. But that's still yet.
Yes.
I finished something really good, and there's like a few minutes like until I transition to the next thing, whatever it is, and then I notice that's like when I.
What should I have to eat?
And then I go, wait a minute, why am I thinking about that? Are you hungry? You go through that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I was so, it was just so cool to notice that, like, dude, you just spent 4 days with them, and it was just so easy, and the food was such high quality, but you never lacked for anything. You never suffered, and you weren't bored, and it was. You never thought about eating or overeating. I'm going to try to see if I can carry that on into my house or, oh yeah, you're getting a little bored right now. Hey, might be time to go take a walk.
Yeah.
Might be time to go drive down the cafe and talk to somebody or something.
Yes, exactly.
Something else or
do something. Just sort of, even if the do something is sit here and be with myself. I found that I was bored a lot because I didn't like my own company very much.
Right.
Especially if I was on my case all the time.
There you go. Right.
Who wants to spend time with her?
Let's get high. You, me, and the heroin addict that lives in my back of my mind or something.
Right. It's no, I don't want to feel this.
No,
I don't want to think about this. I don't want to be with me. I'm like mean to me. Forget it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, and when you open that up deeper, then you just realize, wait a minute, there's no problem being with you. You're
okay, right?
On and on and on. It just keeps happening over and over again.
Right.
And
to have compassion for yourself that you are sometimes mean to yourself, or you are. I was taught to be mean to myself. Everybody was mean. We were mean to everyone. If they were mean to me, I was mean to them.
I'm sorry to tell you, but there's a lot of mean people out there.
There's a lot of mean people.
Right.
So to me, I just felt like I'm going to stop being mean to others, but I think I have to stop being mean to me first.
First, or in addition.
Or
at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Learn how to have how to be regular in a way. But so that is so beautiful how you work that with your recovery. So I wonder if there is a young man out there in the world who is like, oh, I don't know if I have this problem and I don't like that I have it. And maybe I'm okay if I eat a bunch because I'm a guy and I'm supposed to eat a bunch, or all the feelings that we have when we're younger. If you're thinking about that young man in the world and he's got those feelings and no compassion for himself and no love for himself, what would you say to him if you could reach him?
What was that? What was that famous saying that I think it was a Catholic priest that said it, but I heard it said once and it really resonated with me. They said, if you spend your life looking for love, you'll always be miserable. But if you spend your life loving others, you'll always be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember hearing that once, and it kind of stopped me in my tracks, and I went, "Oh my God, I did that." And I guess I kind of inherently knew that, but that I was like in my 50s when I heard that, and I go, "Well, I've had that going for the last 20 years." But if you would have said that to me when I was in my 20s, I would have went, What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
Right. I wouldn't have got it.
Right.
But so it was brilliant after the fact, once I realized, that's so true. And the reason I know it's true is because I'm living that truth.
That's right.
But, and then when I hear someone encapsulate it like that, I go, well, that's brilliant. But the brilliance is the fact that is actually true.
True, right.
If you are out constantly looking for things outside of yourself to make you feel better, it is a really hard search and lonesome and arduous. But if you just go, never mind that. But every time you see someone and you go and you just try to say something nice, and it's not that hard to do. It's not that much effort to do.
Right.
And then you notice bit by bit, man, these people come to you. They're attracted to you.
Yes.
And sometimes maybe you don't want to talk to that person, but still you're pleasant, and on and on and on. And over the years, you get so much love, you can't believe it.
That's right.
You're grateful beyond all measure, right?
That's right.
So,
right.
like that other person said, abundance is everywhere.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Abundance is everywhere.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. And I like that if you're looking for love, you're never going to find it.
If you're always looking for love, you're always going to be unhappy. But if you are always loving others, then you will be happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the part that I forgot as somebody with an eating disorder or drug addiction or the millions of things, I forgot that to put myself in that second one too.
Right.
Love myself too. What a concept. Like, well, of course I have to, or I don't take care of things I don't love.
Right.
So if I love myself, I actually do take care of myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had a teacher once tell me, it was a martial arts teacher, and if we would inadvertently like stub our toe or something like that, people, God, like that. He goes, no, don't do that. He says, your body parts have feelings. He says, don't laugh. He says, but listen, try this. The next time you stub your toe, just go down and hold it and go, I'm so sorry.
It's so true.
I'm so sorry. We'll promise. Try to just like talk to it like you would,
yes.
like a little dog. And you know what, man? The pain goes away faster.
Right.
But the mental loop is also different. Instead
exactly.
It's more like, all the times I take care of you. And then, the body kind of.
Yep.
So, but you have to, at first you have to manufacture this. You have to, it's almost like you're reading from a script.
Yeah.
Compassion? I don't know. How do I do that? Read this template, whatever the words are.
Yeah.
Then after a while you go, okay, all right. I got that, and then you don't need a template, and then you're actually doing it. And then you start, and then later on you notice, hey, I was nice to that person or whatever.
That's right.
And that makes you feel good. And then you recognize it when other people show it to you unbidden, and then you're touched. And
yes.
It just goes on and on and on. Right.
Right.
To me, the crazier it gets, and this time of year is always the same. And this year, the most ever, the crazier it gets out there, the only way I have to combat it, and combat's the wrong word, the only way I have to live with it is to be even kinder to myself and kinder to the ones I love.
Yes.
Because if I would go the other direction, if I go towards the side of the dark, then
all is lost.
Then I'm Darth Vader, and I don't want to go there anymore.
Yeah, and I love that what you said about the toe. I know that I have my knees are real hurt, both of them, and I've said it a million times. I even have heard a doctor say it, or people who love me say it. Well, that's your bad knee. It's like, my knee's not bad. It did nothing wrong.
Right.
It's been here for a really long time, and it has some issues.
It's held me up.
It is so sweet, and I have so much compassion because it's hurt.
I put so much weight on it.
I ran on concrete for years.
It never failed me. On and on.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of switching our language to a more loving and kind language to ourselves and others.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
It goes right into the muscle tissue.
That's it. So I wonder if you would mind reading the just for today part.
Today I will practice meeting each part of myself with compassion. When I feel critical of myself or others, I will consciously choose again to see the situation through the eyes of loving compassion. As my guitar teacher would say, where seldom is heard a discouraging word,
Yes,
right?
I would hope so.
One of the greatest instructors I ever had, and I'm a great instructor too, music, speech, language, martial arts, philosophy, whatever. So always with the kids, I try to keep them laughing, keep it on the up and up. And like you would teach a guide dog,
Yeah,
there's never a correction. There's never a negativity.
that's right.
When something is done right, there's a reward and verbal. And then when something isn't done right, there's a slight little instruction, but
A little
without
click.
without
Right.
negativity, without
Yeah.
force, without rancor. And then of course the dog, like people, only wants to please.
That's right.
Born to please, right? Then when you are able to reinforce it, then it goes towards that. And so that's how you see them walking around with those dogs.
Yep.
And so we would treat someone, a person with less than that.
I know.
It's not going to work.
I know. It's
not gonna
so
work.
true.
Right.
And or ourselves.
Right. You're
You
going to
know?
allow yourself to be treated with less than that?
Yeah.
No.
By you.
Right.
Like I said, I was mean to me. No wonder I didn't do anything I asked myself to do.
Right.
I wouldn't.
Exactly.
Anyway, so great for you to be here, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate your appreciation.
Thank you very much.
All righty.
See you later.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you for listening. And be sure and follow me on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and itsnotaboutfood.com. Thanks.